The troubles started when that blasted adventurer arrived in our quiet village. She claimed she was looking for work and had heard we'd recently had trouble with wolves. Her claims were true, though no one had made the trip down to Peaceland to post a bounty. She seemed pleasant enough, so we gave her directions to the field and told her there'd be a couple silvers and a free night at the inn for her trouble. Through the day we heard howling from both woman and beast, though the cries of the former were of savagery, and the cries of the latter were of agony. Each kill drew more concern than the last. Had we brought a neurotic, chaotic individual into our town? What would become of us if this sadistic creature decided we were her next victims? Luckily, the merchant, Neo, arrived. Neo has long since brought supplies to our village and asked for little in return. He travels far and wide. We consider him knowledgeable about creatures and people that inhabit Astrakhan. He resolved to look the woman over when she returned from wolf hunting. The village elders warned everyone to steer clear of the inn, and we posted our 2 guards inside, posing as simple commoners. The woman returned just before dusk and hurled 10 wolves' heads to the ground before heading into the inn. The wait was agonizing until both the adventurer and Neo emerged from the inn. The adventurer went for a nighttime stroll while Neo explained she could be a dangerous shapeshifter. Something was wrong with her eyes. Neo left to secure his cart for the night and left us all with a feeling of dread. Not 10 minutes immersed in our own thoughts when the night's silence was shattered by a terrible shriek. We rushed towards the sound of the commotion. The scene was something I will never forget. We found bloody clothing and bits of flesh scattered around behind the inn. Bloody footprints led away from the scene, and from around the corner where the footprints ended, the adventurer came running, weapon in hand. It was a farce. We looked at one another before we drew what makeshift weapons we had on our person and demanded her surrender, fully expecting to be slaughtered like the wolves she killed earlier. To our utter astonishment, she gave up without a fight. She spent the night bound and gagged. 10 volunteers kept eyes on her through the night while the rest of us had an impromptu burial for poor Greta, daughter of the innkeeper. The morning came and the feeling of bloodlust was intense. The woman had to die and was sentenced to burn at the stake. She said few words in her defense, not that we cared what they were. We bought extra wood and kindling from Neo, built the pyre, and rebound the prisoner atop it. We asked her if she had any last words, and she turned her eyes to Neo before she asked him, for how long had he fooled us? This gave us just enough pause for Neo to grow suspiciously uncomfortable. Neo fiercely denied fooling anyone, which caused the woman to laugh. She then called Neo by a name we had not heard. Crixlor. Neo did not expect this, as he visibly cringed before he masked his emotions and picked up the torch. As Neo walked towards the pyre, I could not wait any longer. I ran over to her and asked her to tell me the truth. She gave me a choice, free her or hold my doubts. I sighed heavily before slicing her bonds, much to the great anger of my friends and neighbors. Neo charged at the woman, swinging the torch like a truncheon. She ducked under his swing and sent him flying with her fist before she ran to retrieve what I thought was her sword. I was mistaken, as she pulled up a pouch of items and thrust her hand inside. She cast a spell in Celestial, and Neo froze in time before his human form sloughed off. There, in front of us, is a creature of my nightmares. It roared in a guttural language and flew away, rapidly disappearing into the sky. As we stood in stunned silence, the adventurer explained that she was hunting this creature, an Oni named Crixlor, and had tracked him to this region of Astrakhan. She gave us a stone that looks like this, and told us to call for her if he should return. With that, she picked up her gear and walked out of the town, vanishing into the forest. Welcome back to a Compendium of Monsters. This week's entry, the Oni. Before we continue, please make sure you've subscribed to my channel. It helps me out a lot. Oni are challenge level 7, large-sized giants. They have an armor class of 16, average hit points of 110, a speed of 30 feet, a flying speed of 30 feet, and dark vision out to 60 feet. Oni have the innate spellcasting ability, which allows them to cast the following spells without providing material components: Darkness, Invisibility, Charm Person, Cone of Cold, Gaseous Form, and Sleep. Oni have the magic weapons ability, meaning their attacks with their glaive count as magical for the purpose of overcoming non-magical resistances or immunities. Lastly, Oni have the regeneration trait, which allows it to regain 10 hit points at the start of its turn so long as it has at least 1 hit point. Oni have a basic multi-attack that allows them to make 2 attacks with their claws or with their glaive, and Oni can only use claw attacks while in Oni form. Oni can use their other action to shapeshift into a medium-sized humanoid, a large giant, or their true form. Only the Oni's size changes, its statistics and other stats remain constant, differentiating it from spells like polymorph or shape change. The damage from an Oni's glaive attacks is affected by their form. Oni deal an average of 6 more damage per hit while in large form. Though, only the Oni's glaive resizes with its transformations, forcing an Oni to keep a reasonable sized wardrobe to avoid detection. Dungeons & Dragons lore claims Oni are native to the material plane, though I like to think they're instead native to a sublayer of Hades called Niflheim. Niflheim, known as the second gloom of Hades, resembles a forest on the material plane that has grayed out. Niflheim has never-present mist, which benefits the predators that inhabit the area, trolls, direwolves, and regular wolves being the most common. Oni typically pretend to be frontier folk, travelers, or woodcutters when they infiltrate a settlement, the kinds of people you'd expect to find in an untamed forest, which makes me think that their disguise is influenced by the forests of Niflheim. Oni disguise themselves by day so they can take stock of the victims in the settlement of their choice. Or they could play the long game like Crixlor and survey many different settlements while posing as a reputable trader. An Oni makes its kills at night. They abduct and devour their victims with great speed, though Oni prefer the meat of young children to that of adults. Something about that tender flesh, I guess. Oni are often referred to as ogre mages because of their innate magical abilities, though truthfully Oni are only distantly related to the dumb brutes we know to be ogres. Oni are nearly 3 times as smart as their ogre cousins, though Oni share in the ogre's habit of joining forces with other evil creatures, but only if the situation is beneficial to the Oni. How does an evil creature get an Oni's services? Offer it useful magic items or a well-defended, luxurious home. The only major issue I have with Oni is that they're allegedly aligned as lawful evil. Breaking into people's homes is more of a chaotic evil or neutral evil as a pastime, though Oni are less psychotically savage than a creature of chaotic evil alignment. Those that are neutrally evil are more out to support themselves at the cost of others, but are pragmatic about how they achieve those ends. Neutral evil also helps the Oni fit with my Niflheim narrative, as the plane of Hades is neutral evil. DMs, using an Oni requires a lot of finesse on your part. Directly matched against a party of 4 level 7 adventurers, an Oni will quickly get melted. Oni are intended to be melee combatants, and their regeneration ability cannot be prevented by anything, be it elemental damage or damage from critical hits. Oni flourish more as combat drags on, as their regeneration restores 9.1% of their total health, make ample use of the Oni's darkness and invisibility spells. Darkness inflicts disadvantage on attacks made against the Oni and allows it to move between combatants who are unable to see it and therefore unable to make opportunity attacks. An Oni can use invisibility to avoid attacks if it needs to flee a powerful melee combatant for a squishy caster, or if the Oni needs a couple rounds to heal itself while antagonizing your party. Lastly, Charm Person and Cone of Cold can be used to turn the tide of battle, but they can only be used once. Charm your party's healer and have them use one of their highest spell slots to restore the Oni's health, or something like that. Cone of Cold, however, should be saved until late into combat. The Oni won't use its most powerful spell right away, especially if it can overcome its foes with brawn alone. Even if your players line up for the perfect Cone of Cold cast, hold onto it. You can always have the Oni reposition itself and give your players hints like, "You can hear footsteps heading in this direction," and allow your players to line themselves up to strike the Oni before they get blasted. Players! Fighting an Oni is difficult. It's gonna fuck with you for basically the entire fight, which limits your options. There are a few approaches I can think of that will help you, but none of them are reliable. Your first option is to nuke the Oni with as much damage as possible, forcing it to go on defense. Your second option is a druid or bard with the Fairy Fire spell, as it will negate the Oni's invisibility and give your party members advantage on any of their strikes against it. However, Fairy Fire is negated by the Oni's darkness spell and can't be upcast to 3rd level to dispel the Oni's darkness. Lastly, separate the Oni from its glaive. An Oni's claw attacks deal almost half the damage of its glaive. Separating the two forces the Oni to try to retrieve the glaive from whoever took it. The Oni can only have 1 sphere of darkness active at a time, and it costs the Oni an action to move the sphere, which limits its ability to keep the battlefield obscured. But since Oni can fly, you can't body block the Oni from trying to wrestle the glaive from whoever might have stolen it. Anyways, what do you all think of Oni? Let me know in the comments below. A quick thank you to my patrons. And thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share my video on your Twitter, Facebook, or other social media, and make the leap to become one of my patrons on Patreon. I'll see you all next time.